Good morning. For some of you who were with us last night, it is still the morning. And wow, I can't believe I'm actually doing this and you're actually here. We talked about this for so long, and to see you all here today is amazing. So thank you for coming, supporting, and more importantly, engaging and taking the conversations that hopefully we're all going to have together forward. So why are we here? Lovely architecture, but that's really not why we are here. We're here to talk about the future resources, and the role that the Northeast can play, because, as we all know, minerals are essential for our way of life. And currently, we rely on offshoring and imports for our current way of life. And that brings with it a number of challenges that you'll be cognizant of, particularly around geopolitics and security of supply. But we all know, because we read about it every day, about net zero, we read about energy transition, and the people in the room are the architects of that transition. And they're the architects of that transition up here. Because we currently face a trilemma in the commodities world: security, affordability, and sustainability. So what you will hear about today is how some of the really interesting companies in this area are tackling those challenges. And it's a challenge we all face together. Because European city dwellers want Teslas, but they don't want the critical metals being mined or processed in their backyard. So we actually have a marketing job in this room. So I've got a 5-point plan for this, which I think covers what most of the companies and audience, delegates here today, will cover. Fulfill our extraction and mining potential, maintain and increase our refining output, secure sustainable imports from responsible partners, and that doesn't include China and Russia, maximize recycling, and drive technological and behavioral change. And I believe those are the 5 ingredients for energy transition to happen. So why in the Northeast? It's big, it's real, it's happening now, and it's happening here. The energy transition is the greatest commercial opportunity of our lifetime. That's not my words, Mark Carney, and he knows a bit about economics. So that is setting the scene for why we're here and the companies and delegates that you're going to meet today. So with that, I'm going to tell you a little bit about Weardale Lithium and why we put this together. But before I do that, I just want to say a massive thanks, not only to you for coming, but also from my team at Weardale Lithium for making this happen, particularly Terry and Emily, who I think are probably having a lie down outside at the moment. I'm making you blush, Emily. They have worked so hard to make this happen, and I know you've made it work to come up here as well. So, right, I'm going to probably fail on the slides. Does that work? That worked. There we go. Right. Right. Weardale Lithium is probably a company most of you have never heard of, and when you got the email, you were like, "Who are they? What do they do?" Well, kind of clues in the name. That's the important disclaimer. But that is it in a nutshell. We want to sustainably produce lithium and geothermal energy from naturally occurring geothermal brines in Weardale. Okay, and that is the beautiful countryside in the Durham Dales there. And what have we got? We've got exclusive access to boreholes which were drilled some years ago by Newcastle University together with One Northeast. I'm delighted that David Manning's here. He was part of that team, and the other members of Newcastle University are here today. And they have been super supportive, and we're pleased to have the relationship we do with the university. It's really important to us. David will talk about the history and what they did, but I think it's fair to say that they were looking for geothermal energy, not lithium. And so with a fresh look, fresh twist, a new commercial opportunity has arisen. You will hear many things today about why the Northeast is important, and it is about a hub, it's about an ecosystem, and it's about an integrated supply chain. And that is something that at Weardale Lithium we feel massively passionate about, tying together all the constituent parts to make the Northeast an epicenter of the EV supply chain, but also the wider energy transition opportunity. So we're in the right address. And more locally, we're in the right address where there's the former Eastgate Cements Works, and it's a brownfield site, which the slide's kind of done its own thing there. But it's important because that site used to employ over 120 people in a very rural area. And that is important when I said about drive behavioral change. That's the kind of responsibility we have as companies. But it's not just about what's happening regionally, it's of national significance. The UK, as you will know, is a net importer of pretty much every single commodity. In a changing world, that is not a good place to be. And you'll have heard about other lithium projects in the UK, particularly in the southwest, and I wish them the very best of luck because the market is big enough for them to succeed, for us in the northeast to succeed, and the market still to be in deficit. So this is win-win, not winner takes all. And it's consistent with what the government are doing. It's not a political statement, but it is consistent with the objectives of levelling up, regional support, industrial strategy, and the energy transition. So what are we doing about it? Well, I'm pleased to say, largely thanks to that chap over there, that we are in the boreholes as we speak, testing, and our work plan is already underway, and I can't be more excited about it. So why Weardale? It's a geological accident. We didn't choose to be in Weardale. The rocks chose us. And really what I want to say from this slide is that we have the benefit in this region, and particularly in the Weardale granites, of a huge resource endowment. And that is what we want to develop. And you'll see the other place in Cornwall, and you know about those chaps who are good friends. This is a little bit more geology. It's a radiothermal granite. I won't dive into the detail of it, and no doubt David will talk about it, but we are in the right address, and we cannot move it, and we're getting on with it. We believe that the former mining in that area, and it's a historical mining for fluorspar, for lead, for zinc, is the clue to the future. So the lithium brines are actually associated with the mineralized veins that were historically mined, and that allows the water to flow through the very impermeable granite. This is the slide that my friend calls geoporn. I don't really understand it, but it looks great, doesn't it? On a serious note, it's a magnetic anomaly that we're showing there, and it really does show that the lows that you can see in the blue area there over the Weardale granite are associated with the mineralization that we're looking for. So how does this stack up? Well, Weardale, top left, is the most prospective area in the north. Our friends at Arup, who you'll hear from later, have done a lot of work for us, and we're very grateful for their insight and expertise, and have modeled a lot of this area for us. And this is why we're able to say very confidently that lithium is associated with the mineralized veins. And they sit on, predominantly the Eastgate borehole sits on the slip vein, and you'll hear more about that later, a 17-kilometer strike that stretches across the area. And God, it's boring. It's a manhole cover. I mean, you know, who said that this was sexy? It really is. But that's what it looks like. And the most important thing about this slide that I really want to show is that that landscape will not change. And that's really important when I talked about behaviors, when I talked about society. We're not digging an open pit here. We're not doing underground excavations. We are drilling a borehole. So in fact, we're not a mining company. We're actually a water company. And that's the way it is. And then this is the log chart from David's team back in the day, showing the lithium mineralization hitting us around 400 meters deep. Just to give you an indication of scale, that borehole is 995 meters deep. The ones that are being drilled in Cornwall for geothermal are 5K. So it's shallow, which has a number of cost and activity advantages. I was going to skip through all this because it's really boring, but this actually is really important. And I know Mark's going to talk about it. Does that look familiar, Mark? We're very lucky to have a very supportive shareholder who we have made arrangements with in relation to this ground. That former cement works is 300 meters from the borehole. That confers a huge advantage on us, particularly around transportation, efficiency, and cost. But also, as I said earlier, around planning and around jobs in an area where there was industrial activity. That site has the infrastructure already in place, and again gives us an accelerator to developing our project. So what are we trying to do? Basically, we're going to be laying pipes to test whether we can get the water from the boreholes onto the work site, and by the end of this year, and I'm going to say it on record, we hope to prove that we can extract the lithium from the water in Weardale. Number one objective. What are we doing about it? Well, we're already speaking to DLE, and you're going to hear a lot about DLE, direct lithium extraction, today, and no doubt in your conversations over coffee. The water of Weardale has already been sent to a number of people, and preliminary views are that it is suitable for DLE. And this is my last slide, because I think already we're running behind time. If not, then I'll carry on, how much you can bear. So we have a very busy work program for the summer, and I'm very pleased to say that that work program has been supported by the Automotive Transformation Fund, who we were very successful in a competitive bid for getting nearly £700,000 of government money to make this project happen. That's a massive validation in what we are doing, but also in the region. And there are other people who've been very supportive in the region as well. So by the end of this year, as I said, we want to prove that lithium can be extracted from the water. We'll know the flow rates, and we'll have a feasibility study which will then answer all of those questions which I get asked, normally over a gin and tonic, which is, how much of this have you got? How much money are you going to make? And the answer is, right now, I don't know. But that's why we're doing this work. I'm just going to touch very briefly on geothermal, because it is an important component of this, because it changes what we are doing from other lithium production that happens around the world. So currently, most lithium production is mined in Australia and China. It's mainly from spodumene, hard rock deposits, or salars in South America. Both of them have a horrendous environmental impact. And I'm very pleased to say that lithium sourcing from geothermal brines is the lowest environmental footprint there is. And that's not my analysis. That's Minviro and a number of other sustainability groups who've done that work. So the idea here is to develop the geothermal energy potential to create a net carbon neutral operation. Really important. Because remember my opening remarks about we're on the journey for energy transition and net zero. You can't be part of the solution providing lithium if you're not producing it in a sustainable way. I'm not going to talk about ESG, because you're going to hear a lot about that later. I did talk about lithium supply, but actually that's the one I really want to talk about on the right, linking us back to all the other companies in this room, all the other activity going on around this area. The northeast is where it's happening. Cornwall's great, and what they're doing down there is exciting, but boy, have you got an advantage up here over there. Anyone been to Cornwall on holiday? Going down those wiggly lanes, it's all great, going to the beach. You try and get a 30,000 litre water tanker down that lane. I wish them the very best. And I wish us lots of success with our partners and collaborators here. And for those who've never been to Weardale, that's just a snapshot behind the dale of where we're operating. And again, an indication of the industrial and mining heritage of this area. It's an open invitation. You're all welcome to come. We are open for business. We're open and transparent. I've said that to the local communities. I say it to you. If you want to find out more, please grab me or anyone with the nice blue lanyard, green lanyard, and we'd be happy to tell you more. If you're shy, follow us on social media and we'll keep telling you what we're up to. So thank you again for coming. I'm delighted. Hopefully I'll get to get around most of you. And with that, I'll hand over to Hamish, our chairman of Weardale Lithium, who's going to kindly make sure that we all run to time and introduce speakers, because I'd be rubbish at that. Thank you again.